Did you know that H.R. 1 for the People Act proposes an overhaul of our current voting system and how it's conducted? Today, my purpose is to persuade you to support passing H.R. 1 for the People Act. I have a personal interest in the topic and have taken the time to conduct research with current and accurate information. Some of you may have heard of the changes that H.R. 1 for the People Act may provide and how this bill would change our current voting system. I believe after hearing what I have to say about this topic, you, too, will agree supporting the passing of H.R. 1 for the People Act. I will begin with the problem and explain the cause and conclude with the solution for passing H.R. 1 for the People Act. And with our roadmap in place, let's begin with the problem. The problem is some people oppose passing H.R. 1 for the People Act. For example, many conservatives are strongly against the federalization of elections. And according to a June 16, 2001 article, the three main reasons conservatives oppose H.R. 1, which is published by the online independent journalist platform that strives to give unbiased news. Another example is the left-leaning American Civil Liberties Union has criticized the campaign's provisions included in H.R. 1. According to PolitiFact, a non-profit fact-checking website, which fact-checked the statement and solidified its original wording. And together, these two examples show that the bill proposal does not side completely with both parties, proving that there are people that oppose the passing of H.R. 1 for the People Act. And with the problem in mind, let's look at some of the causes. The two primary reasons people oppose passing H.R. 1 for the People Act. The first reason comes from believing that H.R. 1 would force taxpayers to support candidates that they may not support. So according to a January 25, 2021 article, H.R. 1 S1 Resource Guide, published by the Institute of Free Speech, a nonpartisan organization that focuses on protecting the First Amendment. However, according to Ballotpedia, an online nonpartisan encyclopedia, the bill would enable Title V, a voluntary public financing system, which private donations for up to $200 would be matched publicly using a 6-to-1 ratio. The public funding is a voluntary public financing, so this would not force people to pay for political candidates that they do not support. The second reason comes from believing that H.R. 1 would weaken the election security and integrity. According to the same June 16, 2021 article, the three main reasons conservatives oppose H.R. 1, published by the online independent journalist platform that strives to give unbiased news. However, the bill would enable Title II, requiring states to utilize non-political redistricting commissions comprised of equal amounts of Democrats, Republicans, and third parties to prohibit one political party from favoring over another, thus keeping the integrity of the election. The bill will also enable Title III, which would create a public sector grant program to specifically update voting systems and conduct risk-limiting audits. H.R. 1 would provide more support to protect the integrity of the election, especially with the creation of a public sector fund grant, which would conduct risk-limiting audits and have a pool of unbiased commissions, which would prove critical to current swing states. So I've taken the time to make a presentation aid, and as you can tell from this slide, right here on the left-hand side is an example of what political redistricting. This is the state of Wisconsin, which is known to be a swing state. As you can tell, it is divided into many districts. So the more districts that you win, the more chances that you will get the electoral votes for that state. On the right-hand side, it shows you how to scale an election. So over here, if there were 50 precincts, it is divided into 60 to 40. Blue technically wins with this. However, once you actually start redistricting the amount of districts, for example, on the right-hand side, how they have changed the shape of the district, red actually technically wins, even though it looks about the same amount of votes. So, with the problems and causes in mind, let's take a look at the solution. The solution, which is to support passing H.R. 1 for the People Act, offers two primary benefits. The first benefit is that H.R. 1 will allow more accessibility to voting. According to 2021 article, Congress Must Pass for the People Act, published by the Brennan Center of Justice by New York University of Law, every eligible citizen who interacts with a designated government agency, such as the Department of Motor Vehicles, a public university, a social service agency, is automatically registered to vote unless they decline registration. In other words, the accessibility to voting would be easier since anyone that is registered in the government database will be registered to vote. The second benefit is H.R. 1 will allow more political transparency from political donors. So according to Ballotpedia, a nonpartisan political encyclopedia, the bill would establish requirements such as making political advertisements to disclose their top donors and chief officials in the disclaimers. So in other words, these requirements will allow more transparency on the relationship between the donor and the candidate. So in conclusion, we must support the passing of H.R. 1 for the People Act. So let's review what we learned today. First, we learned that there are some people that oppose the passing of H.R. 1 for the People Act, such as the conservatives are strongly against the federalization of the elections, and the left-leaning American civil liberties unions have criticized the campaign provisions included in H.R. 1. Next, we learned that there are two primary reasons people oppose passing H.R. 1 for the People Act. The first reason is it would force taxpayers to support candidates that they might not support, and the second one is it would weaken election security and integrity. However, we know now that the bill on a 6-to-1 ratio will only match private donations up to $200 voluntarily, and we know that the bill strengthens election security and integrity by utilizing non-political redistricting commissions and grant to update voting systems to conduct risk-limiting audits. Finally, we learned about the solution, which is to support the passing of H.R. 1 for the People Act, which offers two primary benefits. H.R. 1 will allow more accessibility to voting, and H.R. 1 will allow more political transparency from political donors. Now that you have heard what I have to say about H.R. 1 for the People Act, I urge you to support the passing of the bill and support a complete overhaul of our current voting system and how it's conducted.